I've always been fascinated by how light interacts with different kinds of biological materials. My lab works in nanophotonics, so the nanoscale science of light, and we develop new kinds of materials that change the interaction of light with matter in new and interesting ways. So in this project, we're especially interested by the health challenge of organ fibrosis. So that's the formation and development of fibrous biological tissue. And it's important to many diseases. What we're focused on here is breast cancer. So the fibrous properties of breast cancer tissue can really tell you if a disease is early stage or more advanced stage. But right now it's very difficult to distinguish those two in the clinic. There are state-of-the-art imaging techniques where we can visualize the tissue microstructure, but those are not accessible to clinicians. We want to help patients who don't have access to the most sophisticated, high-tech techniques and allow for a much more accessible approach toward diagnosing their fibrotic disease. So what we wanted to do was take our understanding of nanoscale light matter interactions to scale down this complicated technique to come up with a quantitative way to assess the tissue microstructure. Then started studying the optical properties of the morpho butterfly, and we realized that it has the exact properties we're looking for tissue diagnostics. So that was a really exciting eureka moment, and it has this very beautiful complexity and intricacy that we can then take advantage of to enhance the optical effects we're looking for.
The morpho has these super long gratings along their scales that have a specific direction that will respond to polarized light. Polarized light is special because it propagates in a specific direction. There are certain materials that are sensitive to these polarizations of light and will respond to it selectively. It causes a super high reflection when you image with our super special polarized light microscope. Very high sensitivity of reflections at certain angles. And so this is something that we could use to introduce for imaging tissues, because tissues have biological fibers, the most abundant fiber being collagen. And collagen fibers are also very sensitive to the polarization of light. The only issue is that property in biological tissues is much weaker. So what we decided to do and check out is if we could leverage the morpho butterfly's polarized light sensitivity to basically interface the morpho with the tissue to enhance the tissue signal so you could actually visualize what's happening when you're imaging it. This polarized light sensitivity tells us about what we're imaging within the tissue. There's a lot of things that go into diagnosing cancer, and one of the main things is looking at collagen arrangement. So what this method could help you distinguish is collagen arrangement itself, and then that is a tool a pathologist would use for determining cancer stage. So this expedites the process and makes it easier and more accessible because you don't have to do any chemical staining or use a super powerful or optical component. You just use a slide with a butterfly wing on it. Cut out a wing, put it on a glass slide, interfaced with a tissue sample. I don't have to do anything else really.
You just need a simple setup. So we're not changing the optics or the equipment, but we're using the nanoscale science of light to create a surface that allows us to assess the tissue. Having a butterfly wing as our optical surface that diagnoses and characterizes the tissue doesn't require any expensive nanofabrication facilities. The goal of our technology is that we can apply it in a simple optical microscope that's available to clinicians in all kinds of settings, even in under-resourced settings. But it's also more objective and quantitative than what is currently available. Using light as a biophysical marker of disease allows us to basically come up with all kinds of different solutions that maybe wouldn't have been thought of before.